Hi, it's Dave here from Hiking with Dave and Barbara, and we're back in the UK, in Manchester to be precise, after returning from Tenerife after devising and walking the Mount Teide challenge, which was a 6-day hike to the top of Mount Teide, not by getting the bus up to the cable and getting the cable up, or even just walking from the bottom of the cable car. This was to walk from sea level to the top, which we successfully did. The other thing about it, of course, was we didn't actually want to hike with tents and large packs because there's no campsites. Once you get into the national park in the middle of Tenerife, there are no hotels, or very expensive hotels. So the plan was to base ourselves in one central place, which we did, a place called Vilaflor. I'm going to talk about the accommodation first. And the way we did it was we booked 5 nights in Vilaflor at a hotel called the Casa Seguan. Other hotels, obviously, in the village. Not as many as you'd think, but there are other hotels there. We stayed there for 5 days, which gave us 4 days of walking. And that allowed us to start at sea level, go halfway back to Vilaflor, then go back to where we left the previous day, back to Vilaflor, then Vilaflor halfway up the mountain, etc., etc. But it allows us to really just take day bags. We didn't need any sleeping bags or anything. We just relied on the buses to do this. Hopefully, if you've seen the videos, you'll see how this works. That all worked fine. No buses. Every bus was on time. By the end of the week, the bus driver knew us. He knew what we were doing, and I'll talk about the buses a bit later. But really, that accommodation worked well. 5 nights, and then you check out. On the 6th night, you need to check into the Altavista Refuge, which is just below the summit of Mount Teide. Now, previously, we've been using day bags because we don't need large amounts of kit. But this day you need to take at least a change of clothes or some food to the Altavista Refuge. You get to the Altavista Refuge, it doesn't have any food, it doesn't have any showers either, but it is quite a nice refuge. I've been in far, far worse refuge. It's clean, it's relatively new, it has quilts, you don't need to take a quilt with you, or duvet, etc. It has enough warm things there. Everything you take to the Altavista Refuge, you must take away as well. It's very green. It's also very regimented, and it's worth just reading the notes about the Altavista Refuge before you go, because if you think you're just going to turn up and they'll let you in, that is not going to happen. You've got to have booked this refuge. I think we booked it 3 or 4 weeks in advance, but you must do it. There's a story about that, which I'll tell you in a couple of minutes. But on that day 5, it's quite a hike up, so you do need a decent sized rucksack. I don't know, 25 litres should be okay, but you're going to have to fill it with, it's going to be full, basically. Anyway, when you arrive at the Altavista Refuge, it won't let you in till 5 o'clock. People standing outside, etc. You do meet a lot of people, but it is quite cold at that point. So that day, you're going to need some decent warm weather clothing. The walk up to Altavista Refuge. Now, if you think you need it the day before, you're definitely going to need it on the actual walk up to the summit of Mount Teide. Bit more about the refuge. You can check in at 5 o'clock, and the manager's there. It's very regimented, but the manager will just check you in. Make sure you've got a booking, and then you can go for, there's a kitchen there, etc. Of course, you can't buy any food there, so as long as you've taken some food with you or sandwiches, you can eat there in the kitchen area. There's enough room in this refuge for 52 people. At 7 o'clock, the manager then designates a bed for you. So there's no queuing, no messing. He shouts out your name and says, Dave, you're there. Barbara, you're there in that room. So you don't need to worry if you're outside or walking around. He knows where you're going to sleep. And he was a nice guy. Now, that all works well. He also tells you that at 5:15 in the morning, everybody's going to be getting up and leaving. Actually, it was probably more like 4:45 that people started to move. People went to bed early, but people got up very early. And of course, the reason is you want to get up to the top of Teide to see the sunset. Before I just talk about that briefly, if we go back to the previous night, there's quite a lot of people walking, just a day walk from the bottom of the cable car to the top of Teide. These are one of the 200 people the lucky people who get tickets to go to the top during the day. And clearly they've walked to the top expecting to get the cable car down. Now, it was a bit windy when we got to the top of the Altavista Refuge. It was about 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3:30. Anyway, the manager of it wasn't the manager, but somebody, I think he was Italian, he was the first one down. He came down about 5 o'clock and he said the cable car has been closed. And it's been closed 2 hours. So everybody who's gone up expecting to take the cable car down can't do it anymore. And their only way is down. And that is, it's another 1,000 meters down, another 3 hours walk down. So this chap, he turns up sort of 5:15, and he's queuing up in the queue to see the manager. And he says basically the cable car's not running, can I stay at the refuge because I'm really tired, etc, etc, etc. The manager says, you haven't got a booking, you can't come in. Yeah, amazing in a refuge. I thought it would never happen, but rules are rules. So for him, no problem. He started to walk down 1,000 meters. Now then, about 7 o'clock, some more people turned up. And it was getting dark by this time. And he just says, no, the rules are the rules. So it got to this ludicrous situation where people were turning up, not many, but a few, turning up, saying, can we come in? And they said, no, you can't come in. And he was just sending them away. And we watched this Spanish guy, I think he was, and he started walking down at 7 o'clock in the dark. Fortunately, he had a torch. He's got a 3-hour walk down back to the car park, where his car probably isn't anyway. It's quite amazing. So follow the rules. Altavista Refuge, their rules are amazing. So read it, but as long as you stick by those rules, it's a great place. Another word of warning, in the morning, you get up at 5 o'clock and you leave the place at 5:30 or something like that, and it is 2 hours to get to the top. Not a long distance, but it's steep, the air is thin, and it is cold, very, very cold. So you've got to wrap up. You've got to have taken a lot of stuff up with you, thermals, layers, a bigger coat as you've got, hats and gloves, essential, and a muff, absolutely essential. Going to move on to the buses, and you can buy a card in this card here. It's called a +10 card, and you can buy this from Costa Adeje bus station, and it just allows you to tap on and tap off the bus. And this is good. This can be used on all the buses from Costa Adeje up to Arona, up to Vilaflor, and backwards and forwards, which you're going to use quite a lot. I wouldn't put too much money on it, but if you put 10 or 15 or $20 on it, or 20 euros, should I say, that'll cover you the week for 2 people really. You can use one card for certainly 2 people. I think it might be 4 people. So you've just got to tap it twice on and tap it twice off. Buses were fine, and you can get full details of them if you look at our website, www.hikingwithdaveandbarbara.com. We'll give you the link through to the bus company, and you can check out the bus timetables. One thing to remember is some of the buses only run on working days. Now that is a problem if you want to catch a bus on a Saturday and Sunday. So check the buses, certainly the buses going from Vilaflor down to the coast, and the ones going from the coast back to Arona, back to Vilaflor. Just make sure they're running on the days you want. The other thing to think of is the buses beyond Vilaflor going up. It's called the Mount Teide bus, and you can't use those on that. So you need cash, you need euros. It's, I don't know, maybe €4, €5 to go to the Parador. It might be 7 or 8 euros to get to the Montaña Blanca car park, but you need cash for that. It's still relatively inexpensive. That bus though only runs once a day. It leaves Vilaflor, I think, just after 10 o'clock, and then it returns from the Parador at 4 o'clock. So this is a reason maybe we've taken an extra day. If we'd had somebody with supporting transport or whatever, we would probably have done it in one less day. But for us, it was all a matter of taking the buses, doing it based in one location, not carrying massive bags, no camping kit, nothing, just an easy option. And the buses all worked well. Again, have a look at our website and it'll give you full details of the buses we took, the times we took them, and the times we came back. We didn't have a single problem with the buses. Okay, on the hiking kit we took, we basically just used day rucksacks. Similar to this one, nothing too major. This is, I think, is just a simple one. Still has the lap belt, but I think it's 25 litres, nothing too large. And we either took one or two of them, depending how much stuff we wanted to take. Clearly you need some water and some food. The one day where we took both of them fully, the one day we took both of them when we needed to fill them was on the walk up to the Altavista Refuge. You just need to take a lot of clothing with you, warm clothing. I can't stress how cold it was at the top on the walk up, and also on the walk from the Altavista Refuge to the top of Teide. It is cold, frighteningly cold. On the boot front, I took my normal lower Renegades. People do take sort of walking shoes, but for me, the terrain was flat sometimes, but the terrain was difficult, volcanic rock, and for me, you could easily twist an ankle. So a pair of boots I would recommend always. Especially, I would say, coming down from the summit of Mount Teide, you're walking down across large volcanic flows. So the chances of twisting an ankle are increased. So I would definitely wear boots. On the coats, I would take several layers, but again, can't stress how cold it was at the top. Gloves, a muff, a hat are essential for the higher parts of the mountain. Definitely take some stuff. One quick last word of warning on the elevations. We're not bike hikers, me and Barbara. We can do 1,000 meters, no problem. But there's a 1,200 meter ascent, there's an 1,100 meter ascent, there's a 900 meter ascent. So you got 3 large ascents on 3 of the 6 days, and the last day is in thin air up to the summit of Teide. So as long as you're used to doing 1,000 meters in one go, then you shouldn't have a problem with this walk. It's a great way to do it. And the best thing was when we got to the top of Teide, and when we were in the refuge, saying we'd walked from sea level, nobody had done this. Nobody at all. They'd all either come from the bottom of the cable car or from Montaña Blanca car park after parking there. So everyone looked at us. So you've walked the whole thing? Yeah, we have. So yeah, this is a great walk. If you want to do it properly, this is the way to do it. I think that probably covers everything. I think it does for the moment. It was a great walk. Thoroughly recommend it. The views from the top were outstanding. I think I'm going to leave it there. If you need to email us, you can always contact us on the website. We can give you some advice if you like. Our next trip is probably going to be the Camino de la Plata from Sevilla to Santiago. Probably in a couple of months. We've also got a trip lined up to do the GR20, which is supposedly Europe's toughest hike. Which hopefully we can tell you about that if we finish it. We're going to do that later on in the year, which is going to be really interesting. And I think if you've liked the videos, obviously check those out. We'll see you next time. Good luck with the Mount Teide challenge. See if anybody else can do it. Goodbye.